you're thinking about moving to Vancouver, you've probably seen the pictures, the ocean, the mountains, the beaches. It really does look like paradise and just a great city overall. But what's it like actually living here day to day? Vancouver is one of the most beautiful cities in the world, but it's not perfect. So I'm going to give you the honest breakdown, the good and the bad, so you can decide if this city is the right fit for you. Before I jump in, if you're thinking about relocating to Vancouver, just want to get a feel for what like is here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I post weekly videos about Vancouver neighborhoods, the housing market, and especially what it's like living in this city. I'm Ryan McMillan, a local realtor here in Vancouver. I've lived in Vancouver for over 20 years in all different neighborhoods that I'm going to touch on here today. So I know all the nooks and crannies, the pros and the cons. So we're going to get into it right now in this video. And, we're going to start with the cons and end on a good note and talk pros. Every city's got pros and cons. So let's touch on the first con, and it's a big one, and it's an issue here in Vancouver. It's a homelessness and mental health crisis. This one's a tough one. And look, if you spend any time downtown, especially in the downtown east side, you'll see this issue up close. Vancouver has one of the highest concentrations of homelessness and visible addiction here in Canada. It's something that has developed over decades, and a lot of it goes back to the closure of Riverview Hospital years ago, which really displaced a lot of people who need long term care. And it's been a real huge issue. The city has programs and outreach efforts, but it's a major issue. It's heartbreaking to see, but if you're moving here, it's something you should be aware of. It doesn't define the city, but it's definitely part of its reality. But let's hit number two, traffic and congestion. This one, it's a big one in every major city, but look, Vancouver's stunning geographically, water, mountains, but that layout does make getting around real tough. There's no highway system that runs kind of right through the downtown core. Instead, we rely on a lot of bridges, like you have the Lionsgate Bridge, the Second Narrows, and then south of that, the Canby bridges, the Burrard bridges. Rush hour can be tough getting out of the city. 15 minutes could turn to 45 an hour. But it's just the infrastructure we have. It just hasn't caught up to how much the city is growing. Some of the infrastructure that has been put into place and continues to be put into place is what we call the SkyTrain. It's basically our subway system, and it has limitations, but we keep expanding. We have no choice. We have to expand these lines. It's becoming to the point where, especially if you work downtown or work in amongst the city, really the car is becoming a secondary use of transportation now, just because of just how frustrating it is to drive a vehicle. The city really doesn't want more cars into the city, but it's tough with the culture of the vehicle the last 50 years, 60 years, that people have grown accustomed to. We're a growing city population wise. We're not a big city geographically, right? We only have so much room here. So that makes it an issue when driving around this city. So the subway, SkyTrain, whatever you want to call it, we have constantly new expansions happening, but they do take a long time. And a lot of people just don't think it's almost like we're way behind the eight ball as far as that's concerned. But it continues to try to progress in the right direction with these SkyTrain lines. So with the limited highway system, urban design, this ties into really the next point. We don't have the kind of freeway system you see in most major cities. This was sort of designed intentionally to be more pedestrian friendly, more community focused, and less car dependent. But it really hasn't worked out that way. And while that's great for walkability, it makes commuting a pain. If you live in the suburbs like Burnaby, Richmond, North Van, or even further out in the valley, there's expect tons of bridge traffic, slower travel times everywhere. So depending on your lifestyle, this could be a pro or a con. Number four, cost of living. Now, the big one we got to talk about, consistently ranked as one of the most expensive cities in Canada. Even in North America, it adds up, right? So, and then when you have groceries, gas, dining out, everything is adding up in this day and age. Housing, even though prices have cooled off slightly in 24 and 25, is still among the highest in the country. Rent isn't cheaper either. So if you're going on the rent side, a one-bedroom apartment can go anywhere from $2,200 to $2,500 a month in a lot of areas. And even day-to-day life adds up quickly. Going out for a casual dinner for two man, that can add up. Even myself, I've found myself going out less and less opposed to say 5, 6 years ago. It just people are tighter, right? People are tighter of money. That ties into the whole housing conversation now and this buyer's market as well. That people aren't overpaying for anything. This ties into day-to-day life. And you're talking about disposable income. When people have less disposable income, they're going to do less of these things. So this just adds to the fact that it's an expensive city just to do day-to-day things. When you walk out the door here, you are going to spend money. It is inevitable. It's extremely hard not to. So when it comes down to affordability and housing, it just makes it that much tighter for people when they're looking to shop and get into the market. Okay, so enough about the cons. Let's talk pros about living in this city. Okay, look, honestly, this is really where Vancouver shines. The natural beauty and lifestyle is why people move here to this city. It's hard to beat the natural landscape here. You have beaches, forests, mountains, all within minutes of each other. In the summer, I joke to people like, "Hey, this is a place where you don't want to leave. You don't want to go to Mexico or Hawaii because the natural beauty here in the summertime honestly trumps everything else." Stanley Park, the local mountains. In the winter, you're less than an hour away from world-class skiing. Whistler's on the map worldwide now. You can hit the local hills, Cypress, Seymour, Grouse. It's one of the few places where you can ski in the morning, hit the beach in the afternoon. And honestly, that's just not an exaggeration. That's a main reason. Number two, food and culture. Vancouver's restaurant culture to me is incredible. It's just such diverse city. You got influence from all over the world. Italian, Asian food, a lot more Spanish restaurants now, Korean barbecue, dim sum. You'll find really anywhere in North America, it's going to be in Vancouver. But it's not just that. There's a huge focus here on local ingredients, sustainability now, and honestly, creative dining. And on top of that, there's a vibrant arts and culture scene from small music venues to festivals to independent theaters. And like I mentioned, in the summertime here, like you're going to see a lot of that. Every weekend, you're going to see the arts and culture scene. We have live theaters. At Stanley Park does one all summer, all year round in the summertime, where we have theater. It's called Theater Under the Stars. Great way to go see a live play in a beautiful world-class park. And we have that all, spring, summer. That stuff's always happening, and you're around the natural beauty of Vancouver that just makes it so special. That what draws people here. Myself personally, I don't like leaving BC in the summertime. I'll stay around not only Vancouver, but you go to the local islands and you go to these they're called the Gulf Islands here, and they're just right off the ferries. And your natural beauty. That's what people pay for. People come all around the world for these type of things. So it's something to look out for. Number three, I want to talk about unique neighborhoods. Another huge plus, Vancouver's neighborhoods, they each have their own vibe and personality, but they're so close to each other. I've lived in a lot of these neighborhoods. I'll give you three quick ones. First one's a downtown West End, super walkable, close to the beach, lots of character apartments and high rises. It's vibrant, but it still feels laid back. I lived in the West End myself for over 8 years, and I always told people it was like a little piece of heaven right in the city. You literally were in downtown, but in this honestly little piece of heaven, this neighborhood, low-rise character buildings. You walk 4 blocks that way, you're down at the beach in English Bay, which is absolutely beautiful. Restaurants, shops, the seawall. You want to bike, run, it's all right there. Honestly, amazing. And then you walk a couple of blocks the other way, at least where I was located, and then you're hitting Robson Street, where it's the city's shopping district. There's Granville Street. Just you're in the downtown core, and then you want to just get out of there. You walk a few blocks, you're back in your apartment, and you feel like this neighborhood with old growth trees and everything around it. It's tough to find another place like this in the world. It's absolutely beautiful. I loved living there. And then also, we'll talk about the next neighborhoods that I've also lived in that are really they're they just set each other apart. But again, it's hard to choose, which one was my favorite. There's just so many good options. And these I'm only giving you guys three neighborhoods that stand out from each other because they differentiate from each other, but again, there's so many pluses to them. So the next one's Mount Pleasant, probably one of the trendiest areas right now. Tons of indie coffee shops, breweries, local art, murals. It's got young, creative energy. And what I like about Mount Pleasant, it's a vicinity that you're just out of the downtown core, but really you have everything you need right there in Mount Pleasant. And then if you want to get to the downtown core, you're right, just fall down, do a somersault down the hill. You're at the seawall. You're down in False Creek there. So there's a lot of pros to this neighborhood, but just the local vibe here, you it's got a neighborhood with a lot of history. It's not made up, it's established. There's a lot of kind of new and old things happening here, but just a lot of just a really community oriented neighborhood as well. But again, close to the city, but you're out of the city. I absolutely love Mount Pleasant. I think it's a killer a killer choice to live. Next one I got to talk about is what locals calls Kits. Kitsilano. It's West Coast, laid back neighborhood. Honestly, in my opinion, world class beach. You got basketball courts. You always got a cool vibe going on there in the summertime. And again, just overlooking mountains, water, everything. But again, you have cool, lots of yoga studios, real lifestyle health here. But again, really good shops, restaurants, and again, you're just across the Broad Street Bridge from getting into the downtown core. You could jog there, and you're there in minutes from Kits, but you're in its own separate neighborhood. Beautiful neighborhood on the west side of Vancouver, and it just another reason why it just adds to the why people want to come to Vancouver. These neighborhoods are so unique, but again, they're all within the vicinity. Like where I'm at right now, I currently live just up from Mount Pleasant, called the Kensington Cedar Cottage, another great neighborhood in Vancouver. If I want to get to Kitsilano, I'm not that far away. I'm really, a 10-minute drive, 5 to 10 minute drive, and I'm straight shot to Kits, and I get to enjoy that as well. And like I said, the vicinity you're in with all these neighborhoods, if you're into snowboarding, you're into skiing, you're into the mountains, you're not that far. You're 15, 20 minutes away. And then you want to get back down to the beaches and the ocean. And just even if it's a rainy, colder day, you're by the ocean. People love that, the West Coast. And there's a lot to be said about that. I'm going to dive into other videos and really dive into specific neighborhoods that we can get more detailed on. Drop it in the comments if you guys want me to touch on a certain neighborhood here in Vancouver. I'd love to do that because there's so many unique neighborhoods in this city that I feel like should be touched on in greater detail. So we're going to get into that as we go through this channel. But yeah, so those are three really unique and different neighborhoods, all within the vicinity of each other, that makes it very unique and a pro to live here in Vancouver. Number four, I got to touch on this. People say it rains a lot, but mild climate. For Canada, Vancouver has one of the mildest climates in the entire country. It rains, and sometimes it rains a lot, but you don't deal with the deep freeze or the snowstorms that other Canadian cities get. We get the odd snowstorm and maybe a week of freezing, but you'll see green grass year round. When the summer hits, it's absolutely beautiful. It's warm, it's sunny, it's not humid. So, if you're coming from somewhere like Toronto or Calgary, it honestly feels like a different country weather-wise. That's another reason why people come here from other parts of the country. So those are the real pros and cons of living in Vancouver, guys. Look, it's not perfect. The cost, the traffic, the visible social issues are also, they're very real. But for a lot of people, the natural beauty, lifestyle, and diversity makes it an incredible place to live. If you found this video helpful, you're thinking about moving to Vancouver, feel free to reach out to me. I help people relocate here all the time. My links are in the description. Book a call in with me, text me, call me. I'd love talking with you. And make sure you subscribe to the channel as well, so you get all the local notifications when these next videos are popping up next. Guys, thanks for watching this video. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.